All right, in this segment right here, we're going to talk about soil testing, which is a very important part of gardening because, you can look at the soil and it looks healthy, but you never know exactly what's in it, I mean, you can guess at it, you can use compost and manures and different kinds of amendments, but you're not certain whether or not you're putting too much of one item or you don't have enough of another. So it's always best to get an accurate soil sample. And you can get that through the extension agent in your state, or you can go and spend a little bit of money and get it done really better. I mean, these people, this company called fixmysoil.com. They're a new company, but the people that work there have been in this business for many years. And there was a change of hands at the company they were with before, and so they started a new company. But these people are very experienced in gardening and soil testing, and so I really trust them. I think they do a good job. Well, anyway, I had my soil tested here in the greenhouse, and got the results back a little while back. And so I'm going to go ahead and mix up what the recommendations that they made that I should put on my garden. And granted, now some of these items would not be considered organic. It's hard to explain exactly the difference between organic and inorganic, but suffice it to say that everything that's on this list can be found in any soil anywhere on the earth. And so when you put, there's certain chemicals that are in the soil naturally. This is the way God intended it. Like if you're doing, let's say you're doing organic gardening, the microbes in the soil are going to break down whatever organic material you put in your soil. It's going to break it down into the different basic minerals like the phosphates, sulfates, nitrates, ammonium, there's all these different chemicals. And so this is called biological gardening. It's kind of a step above organic, because you can do all this with organic too, but it's a lot harder to do it, and it's a lot more expensive. Of course, you can get more money for the vegetables, so you have to weigh your ups and downs on this. And so, but as an example of some of the inconsistencies that I see in organic gardening, if you think about, like, if a person was going to put sodium nitrate on their soil, and you ask an organic gardener, is that okay? He'd say, of course not. No, that's a chemical. But if you get sodium nitrate that is mined in South America, in the country of Chile, then it's okay. But sodium nitrates, the chemical formula for it is NaNO3. So if you get sodium nitrate from Chile right out of the ground, then it's organically approved. But if you buy it from the fertilizer store, then it's a no-no. So it's the same chemical. It's exactly the same thing. So in a sense, organic gardening can be burdensome. Here's another example. Epsom salt. We use a lot of Epsom salt, which basically is magnesium sulfate. And Epsom salt was originally discovered in a little town in England, Epsom City or something like that, and so that's where it got its name, Epsom salt. But you can get Epsom salt from a natural source that where they mine it from the earth, or you can buy it already pre-made by, in a factory. But either way, it's magnesium sulfate is magnesium sulfate. So in my estimation, it's kind of a moot point to say that you have to get Epsom salt from the ground. I mean, it's I don't know. It's kind of you can go totally organic if you want to, and I have no problems with it. We use as much organic as we can, but it's just it's cheaper and you get better results if you kind of mix the two. And I just want to explain, we don't use any pesticides, any poisonous chemicals, no herbicides, none of that kind of thing. That's the stuff that's really harmful with commercial farming, is all the stuff they do to the soil. They want to kill off all the vital microbes that are in that soil that they provide life for all the plants. And God made it that way, and the commercial farming says, no, we want to kill everything that's in that soil and make it totally inert. And that's why they're destroying so many of our farmlands across the USA, is because, of this kill everything mentality, when it's actually there for our good and for the plant's good. And so this is all part of what we need to understand about the good parts and the bad parts of commercial farming. So with that said, I would like to show you what Fix My Soil recommended for our soil. They were saying we needed, per 1,000 square feet, we needed 15 pounds of soft rock phosphate. And I didn't have any more. I put a 50-pound bag on this garden back in the fall. They wanted us to use a little bit more, but I haven't gone back to get another bag, so I'm going to substitute some gypsum for that. Then they're talking about 50 pounds of carbonized limestone. Then they wanted 10 pounds of geocal, 20 pounds of remin. I don't really have those compounds. I probably should get them, but some of this stuff I'm kind of passing on. 12 pounds of Epsom salt, we got that. 5 pounds of ammonium sulfate, I got that. 5 pounds of calcium nitrate, I don't have, but I'm going to substitute a McCreary's organic fertilizer for that. They're looking for 5 pounds of dried fish meal, we've got that. 5 pounds of transplant formula, got that. 2 pounds of kelp, 1 pound of sea salt, 1 pound of manganese sulfate, and a half pound of copper sulfate, and then a 1/4 pound of borax. So that would be how much we would need per 1,000 square feet, but we've only got like 384 square feet. So I've worked it out to how much do I need. I'm going to do these two raised beds here. I've already done this one, and these have been done as well. So I calculated it out to where to do these two beds, I've got a list here of the different products. We'd need 2 pounds of soft rock phosphate, 6.4 pounds of lime, the Epsom salt, and all the rest of it. And I'm going to go ahead and put that stuff together, and we're going to put it in a bucket and then mix it up and spread it. What we want to do is use one of these little kitchen scales. They work really well. They're very accurate. You can get them, you can calibrate it in grams, ounces, pounds, whatever. We were looking at 2 pounds of soft rock phosphate, or I'm going to substitute. All right, this comes out of the ground, but it's a chemical. It's actually calcium sulfate. And but it's organic, you know. Although it's a chemical. All right, then we got lime. We want 6 ounces of lime. And I just got this at Walmart. And for you organic purists, this ammonium sulfate, again, is a product that's in every soil. In any natural soil out here, it's got ammonium ions, sulfate ions, all this stuff is there naturally. And so we're not changing the biosphere of the soil. It's, in my opinion, it's a good thing. Anyway.
Well, all I can say is your kale tasted marvelous, so I can't fuss about it because I've never tasted any kale in the stores that tastes like what I've gotten out of this garden. It's absolutely fantastic.
Sometimes you got to zero it out.
I reckon fish meal sounds a whole lot better than dead fish under every plant.
You know, it really doesn't smell that bad. It barely has any smell at all. This is a product that has several different ingredients in it. One of the main ingredients is mycorrhizal. I'm not sure if most of you probably heard of this. Mycorrhiza is it's a fungus that is actually very beneficial to plants. You know, most people think, oh, a fungus, it's going to kill my plants. I'm going to get yada yada and disease and all the rest of it. But you know, God made these plants with symbiotic relationships with the microorganisms in the soil. And so it's amazing how all these things work together. Like the soil microbes actually feed the roots of the plants. This guy right here, the mycorrhiza, it attaches to the roots of the plants, and it has these long tentacles that go out and pick up minerals from out of the soil. And it'll chelate those minerals and feed them to the roots of the plants. I mean, that's pretty amazing, you know? And in return, the plant will send down some sugar, some carbohydrate, from its leaves down to the into the roots to feed the mycorrhiza. So they work in tandem with one another, and there's just so many things that we don't understand that God put in this world to make everything good. Because, you know, in the beginning he said that when he finished creating this world, he said, it is good, good, very good. And so we need to kind of work with things the way God intended. And so we're going to use this transplant formula, and we're calling for 10 ounces of that. Now also, we're going to use it right directly under when we plant seeds or plant plants. We're going to put that right in there.
So when you're planting your seeds, you have it in the formula that you're going to put over the whole garden. But also in conjunction with that, when you're planting a seed, you're actually going to put more of that then?
Yeah, we're going to put about 2 tablespoons under each plant. Then that way, that mycorrhiza has an opportunity to really grab a hold of the plant roots and start with its process.
I'll put in a little shot for another channel. I know of another person who also uses this in their planting, and it's on Simple Living Alaska. And Ariel, when she is planting stuff, she always uses mycorrhiza. So This is something that a lot of different
Yeah,
farmers are using.
It's well known. People that do gardening are familiar with it, and most of our listeners probably do. The next stuff is going to be sea salt. We like to use the sea salt that comes from the Baja Peninsula. It's old. It's been there for a long time, and you can get it from a company called C90, SEA 90. So you can look that up, C90.com, and it's just amazing what that stuff does for your crops. The 90 stands for all the minerals that are in it. You have just almost every element in the periodical chart is in C90, and of course they're in very, very minute amounts, in parts per million, parts per billion, but those tiny little amounts of elements are just what the plant needs and just what they're looking for to give them that vibrant health. And so we're going to put 10 ounces of that. Now, of course, you have to be careful with sea salt. Back in the day, people used salt to kill somebody's plants. And so you have to be real careful. You want to get your soil tested and always test for sodium so that you can know whether or not you're reaching your limit on how much sea salt you should use. So always, get your soil tested and go by the amount of sea salt that is not going to be toxic to your plants. So, okay, we got that. We got manganese sulfate. And again, like I said, all these things are found in the soil naturally. So this is not something that's going to be harmful to your soil. But it's a trace element, and manganese is good for like fruiting, for seed development and that kind of thing. And so we're going to put 10 ounces of that in. Actually, I've already put a little bit of manganese on there, so I'm gonna just cut it in half because I've already done some on a previous planting. All right, borax, half ounce. And again, this is considered an organic product too. You can use this in organic gardening, but it's a total chemical. I mean, it's just household cleaner. All right, so that's going to be a half ounce. Yeah, you don't want too much boron on your garden. Boron is important for calcium uptake. If you don't have boron in your soil, then you'll have problems with calcium. You have to have boron to get calcium, and that's even true in our bodies as well. We won't assimilate calcium without boron. We need a trace amount of it, and so does the plant. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to use some, I've got some organic fertilizer. I like to use, I'm using that in place of the calcium nitrate. It's probably it's a good product, so. Okay, this is McGarry's Organic 345 fertilizer. Very good product. And that's 4. We got 9. We're a little bit short. So, okay. Now that's everything we're going to mix together. Basically, you need to take a tool of some kind and just stir it up. Yeah, well, you want to get it stirred up and really mixed in well. You don't want stuff to get too much of one thing and not enough of the other. So what we want to do is try to get it even on our beds. Spread it evenly. Most of the farmers aren't putting all this in their soil. They're putting NPK in and letting it go at that, and that's not enough.
Well, true. That is true. And a lot of crops are, what's the name of that poison? That glyphosate. They're glyphosating the ground to death. Thank you, Bob.
No problem. We'll see you on the next video.